Hello, grade 9. We are here for another video about ecosystem. On this video, we are going to learn about the ecological relationship, like for example, like commensalism, mutualism, proto-cooperation, parasitism, predation, and competition. So just a short review. So for the last video, we've learned about the 5 levels of environmental organization, such as your biosphere, ecosystem, community, population, and lastly, organism. So before we start, I want you to prepare your book, your Mastery Science 3A. For further information, you can read pages 12 until 17. Okay, so are you ready? If yes, so here we go. So for this video, we're going to talk about ecological relationships. So ecological, the word ecological, it comes from the word ecosystem. You still remember what is an ecosystem? So an ecosystem shows the relationship of living factors and non-living factors, or biotic factors and abiotic factors. So in this ecological relationship, so animals or plants or organisms exist in different relationships, such as number 1, commensalism. Commensalism. Number 2, mutualism. Mutualism. Number 3, proto-cooperation. Proto-cooperation. Number 4, parasitism. Parasitism. Number 5, predation. Predation. And number 6, competition. Competition. So you might be wondering on the right side of the screen, so you have here the plus sign. We also have here the negative sign. And we also have here 0. So this plus sign, it means good, or it means positive. We talk about the negative sign, so it means bad, or something not good. And if you talk about 0, so it means neutral, meaning nothing happened. So something like not good, not bad, it's just normal, it's neutral. Okay, so I will be using the symbols. So I'll illustrate about the different ecological relationships. Also, I will be using smileys and other common scenarios for you to further understand these ecological relationships, okay? So let's begin first with commensalism. So if we talk about commensalism, so like for example, we have here 2 organisms. So organism 1 and organism 2, so as you can see. So this organism 1 seems to be like happy, something like just relaxed. This smiley does not feel bad. Also, this smiley does not feel like happy as well. Something like it's just so-so, okay? So that's why we represent it as with your neutral. In your organism number 2, so as you can see, the smiley is happy, okay? So the smiley is like delighted. So this means that this smiley receives something very good, or something like good news. So that's why I will represent it with a plus sign, okay? So if we go to our, like, in a real scenario, the situation goes like this. So you just imagine in your classroom, you have like a genius friend, wherein, let's name this girl Maria. So Maria is a genius girl. So in every subject, like math, science, Thai subjects, social subjects, English subjects, Maria got 100% in all of them because she's genius. However, shall we say this name this boy Peter. Okay, Peter, however, almost failed in his math exams. So he got only 50% in the math subject. So Peter asked the help of Maria. So Peter talks to Maria like, Maria, can you help me in my math subject? I've got only 50%. And Maria replied, yes, I can help you with it. So Peter is very happy. So Peter got a positive remark. So he's very happy. This time, Peter asked Maria, Maria, do you need something from me? Do you need help in any of the subjects? However, Maria told Peter that, oh, Peter, I don't need your help. I'm genius. I can do all the subjects by myself. So in this situation, Maria feels like I don't need help at all. I'm just okay because I'm genius. I can do almost all the subjects by myself. So this is an example of like your commensalism. Okay, so in other scenarios, so we have here remora fish and shark. Remora fish and shark. So let's read the situation. The remora fish would attach itself to a shark and use the shark for transportation and eat all the food that is left over from the shark. Okay, so from this situation, so this is your shark, and this tiny fish here are your remora fish. So the remora fish, needs the help of the shark to survive. The remora fish, they get all the food they need from the shark. So whenever the shark killed any sea creatures, so whatever is the meat that is left, so the remora fish will eat those meat. And also whenever the shark moves, so the remora fish will just like ride and get a free transportation. However, for the case of the shark does not get any benefit at all. So from this case, so we can say that your remora fish, the remora fish is very happy. And then the shark here, and the shark here just like got nothing at all. So it's a positive and a neutral relationship. So this is an example of your commensalism. Next, let's talk about your mutualism. So mutualism, so just like the previous slides, so we have two organisms. So organism 1 and organism 2. So both of these organisms, they seem to be very, very happy, meaning something like they get very good news because they seem to be happy. So from this case, so I would represent them as like 2 plus signs. Okay. And also I would like to add this one. In your mutualism, both organisms, they need each other to survive. They need each other to survive. Okay, please take note and please remember that in mutualism, both organisms, organism 1 and organism 2, they need each other to survive. Okay, so let's look at this example. So let's have like two girls. So let's name this one as Anna and this girl named Elsa. Okay, so let's try to look at their scores. Okay, Anna got a score of 100% in science. However, in English, Anna got only 50%. However, let's look at the score of Elsa. Elsa got 100% in English. However, Elsa got only 50% in science. So if you look at the situation, both of them can benefit. Anna can help Elsa in her science. And also, Elsa can help Anna in her English. So both of them are in win-win solution. Anna is happy, Elsa is also happy. So Anna is happy and Elsa is also happy as well. Okay, so let's try to look at the some other examples. So we have here your legumes and rhizobia. So your legumes, what are example? Example are your peanuts, are your lentils, are your soybeans, are your what else? Green beans. These are some examples of your legumes, by which you have here the bacteria named rhizobia. So this rhizobia is an example of your nitrifying bacteria. Can you still remember what is the function of nitrifying bacteria? So you're nitrifying bacteria. So your nitrifying bacteria converts the nitrogen on air to become soluble so that these legumes can eat it, so that these legumes can consume the nitrogen on air. Okay, so let's try to look at the relationship of legumes and rhizobia. So the legumes provide nutrients to the rhizobia. So also, the rhizobia take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a soluble form. Soluble, something like a very simple form for these legumes to take in. So going back to the situation, so the legumes provide nutrients to the rhizobia. So meaning in this case, rhizobia is happy, right? The rhizobia take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into a soluble form. So by which, who will gonna take this atmospheric nitrogen? Who will gonna eat this nitrogen? So these are your legumes, right? So rhizobia, they are doing it for the legumes so that the legumes can survive, right? So in this case, legumes are also happy. So if we will remove rhizobia, if we will take out rhizobia, so legumes will be dead. If we remove also legumes, so rhizobia won't be having any food, won't be having nutrients for the rhizobia to live. So meaning both legumes and rhizobia should exist together, should live together in order for them to survive. Okay, do you understand? Okay, next, we have here proto-cooperation. Okay, proto-cooperation. So we have here two organisms again. So if you look at the example, so both of them are happy. So let's represent them with a 2 plus signs. So you might be asking, teacher, why is it they're the same with mutualism? Actually, they're not the same now. Remember that in your mutualism, both organisms need each other to survive, right? In proto-cooperation, they are helping each other, but they don't need each other to survive. They don't need each other to survive. Again, in mutualism, they need each other to survive. In proto-cooperation, they don't need each other to survive. So let's, for example, let's try to look at this two. They're not students anymore. So they're not high school students. So these are like university students. So let's name this one as Sakura. And this one, let's name him Naruto. So if you just look at their scores, both of them got 90% in science. And also in English, they also got 90%, right? So basically, they don't need each other, right? However, imagine I am their teacher. I am the teacher of Sakura and Naruto. And I told them, Sakura and Naruto, I want you to have a presentation about science tomorrow. So Sakura and Naruto should help each other in order to make a perfect presentation. So in that moment, Sakura and Naruto will help only because there is a presentation. So that if they will have a perfect presentation, so they will get an A plus score, right? However, after the presentation, then Sakura and Naruto they can live separately. They don't care anymore with each other because the task, the job to make a presentation is already finished. Okay, so let's try to look at another example of your proto cooperation. So we have here your flower and bee. So let's read the situation here. So the flowers are pollinated by insects. The insects feed on nectar and carry pollens to other flowers. Do you still remember what are pollens and this word pollinated? So pollens, so these are like the reproductive part of your flower by which they need insects or pollinators to transfer these pollens to another flower or spread them in another place. And that process of spreading the pollens, it is called pollination actually. It's pollination, okay? So let's try to look at the example again. The flowers are pollinated by insects. So in this case, so the flower seems to be happy, right? The insects feed on nectar. Nectar is a sweet liquid from the flower. So in this case, the insect is also happy. But please take note that from our example here, which is the bee. So the bee can survive without this flower, right? The bee can just go to another flower. Also with your flower, the flower can survive without the bee. Remember, there are many insects, there are many pollinators, right? So the flower does not need only the bee. The flower can also have the moth. The flower can also have like the butterflies. The flower can also have like the birds. So there are many ways for the flower to spread the pollen to another flower or to another place. So both flower and the bee, they don't need each other to survive. Okay? Next, parasitism. So in parasitism, so one organism is like angry or feels bad, and then the other organism seems to be happy. So in this case, for organism one who feels very bad, so I will represent him with a negative sign. And for organism two, which seems to be very happy, so I will represent him with a plus sign. So let's try to look at this scenario. So we have here two students here. So let's name this one as Michael. And let's name this one, let's name this girl Shell in short. Okay. So Shella here is Shell. She is selfish. And Michael is a very helpful student. So let's try to look at their scores. Michael got 100%. However, in English, he got only 50%. Shell got 50% in science. And in English, she got 100%. So let's have this one. Since Shell is a very selfish girl, so Shell will ask the help of Michael. So Shell will go to Michael and ask, Michael, can you help me? And Michael is happy to help Shell because Michael is a very helpful student. He's a very good student. Okay. However, when Michael wants to ask help for Shell, like, Shell, can you help me in English? However, Shell told Michael, no, I cannot help you because if I help you, you will also get 100%. I don't want it. So in this case, only Shell is happy, right? And Michael feels very bad because Shell did not help Michael. Okay, so let's go to another situation. You have your fleas and your dog. So try to look at here. Only the fleas are very happy in drinking the blood of their host. The host here is the dog. Okay, it's the dog. And the dog will get what? Only skin infection. So look at the hair of the dog in this area. So there's no more hair because because these fleas here are living in this area. So that's the reason there are no more hairs here. So in this case, so the fleas are happy because they drink the blood of the dog. However, the dog feels very bad because the dog did not get anything from the fleas, and the dog maybe get this skin infection, which is not very good. Okay, so please take note that in parasitism, fleas won't kill the host. So meaning the fleas will just enjoy living on that host without killing the host. For this example, the flea the flea loves to stay on the dog without killing the dog, because if the flea will kill the dog, then the flea won't have blood to drink anymore. Okay. And lastly, we have your predation. So organism 1 feels bad, so that's why a negative sign. Organism 2 feels happy, that's why a positive sign. So again, parasitism versus predation. Remember parasitism, the parasite or the animal that's the parasite that a parasite is like an animal who gets benefit only. The animal who is happy, and the host feels bad. So remember this one, please. This is the parasite, and then the dog's the host. So in parasitism, so the host is not killed. However, in your predation, so this one is like your predator, and these tiny circles here, okay, they are your prey. Okay, your prey. So by which the predator, which is normally a big animal, and the prey, they're small animals, so only one-sided. Only the predator is happy and the prey are sad or feels bad. So in this case, the predator is free to eat. The predator will kill all the prey. So this is the difference between parasitism and predation. Because in predation, the predator will kill the prey. Okay, so let's try to look at the example here. So you have here the lion hunts the buffalo. So we're in the lion in this case is happy because the lion will have his very abundant meal. The lion will have a feast after it kills this buffalo. However, for this buffalo, it will be dead for sure. Okay, after being hunted by the lion. Next, the last but not least, you have your competition. In competition, two organisms, they feel bad at each other. So both of them will be having a negative sign because in this case, in competition, they don't help each other. They don't help each other. They don't help each other. Okay? So like for example, so you have your hyena and then your vulture battling over dead animal. So in this case, this is the dead animal. So you have here your hyena and these are your vultures. So these vultures versus hyena, they are competing to the food. They are like having a race who's going to eat first this dead animal. So as you can see in the picture, so you can see here that here's the vulture. So and then you have here the hyena who's trying to chase or telling the vulture to like, hey, go away. This is my food. However, as this hyena faces this area, so here's another vulture at his back, taking advantage of eating this dead animal. Okay, so again, in competition, we won't help you. There's no cooperation with each other. Okay, you are fighting over one thing. Okay, so let's have a short activity. So let's try to check if you can still remember. Okay, commensalism. So I have here the code for easy recap. So you don't have to go back to the previous slides. So commensalism, mutualism, proto-cooperation, parasitism, predation, and lastly, your competition. Okay, so let's read examples here. Okay, the ants lay eggs on acacia tree, so they get a nice safe place for their eggs. The acacia covers the infected area with brown flesh called a gall, and the plant has to use valuable resources to create the gall. So if we will analyze the situation, so the ant lays eggs on acacia tree, so meaning the ants here are happy. Okay. However, the acacia covers the infected area with brown flesh, and it has to use valuable resources to create the gall. So the acacia here feels bad, so it's negative. So positive and negative, so you can choose parasitism versus predation. Do you still remember parasitism? No killing. In predation, there is killing. So in this situation, the ant or the ants, they don't kill the acacia tree. So meaning this is an example only of parasitism. Okay, next number two. Okay, the elf owl. So you have here the owl. Okay, the elf owl is here, creating small hole for nests in the cactus. So the elf owl here is just happy, and then the cactus here is like, I don't care, I'm still alive. So there's no damage. I mean, the cactus does not need to use energy to repair, or the cactus does not use its resources to repair. So the cactus here is like zero. So if here is zero positive and zero here, so we have here your commensalism. Okay, next, let's read the situation. Okay, so this fish now. Okay, this fish lives its entire adult life among the tentacles of a sea anemone. Anemone fish do not get stung by the anemone as would most other fish, so they get protection from predators. The fish often drop food scraps which the anemones can eat. So in this situation, so we can say that the anemone fish, they live its entire adult life among the tentacles of a sea anemone. So meaning it's very dependent. The fish, it needs the sea anemone for like as its home. So in this case, the fish here seems to be happy, right? And also, the fish often drop food scraps, which the anemones can eat. So every time this anemone fish will eat. So it makes sure that it brings something to the anemone to eat. So in this case, the anemone is also happy. So in this scenario, since anemones cannot move, so it needs the fish to survive. Also, the fish needs the anemone because the anemone here, it serves like the home of the fish. So both of them, they need each other. So this is an example of your mutualism. They need each other to survive. Okay, next scenario. Okay, this boxer crab carries a pair of stinging anemones in its claws, which it uses to defend itself from predators. The anemones get to move around, which increases their food supply. So this is the example of your boxer crab, and these are the anemones here, and these are like the claws of the crab. So as you can see here, so when the boxer crab moves anywhere, so the anemones are always there on the claws of the crab. So in this case, so the boxer crab uses the anemones to defend as like a shield for any predators. Remember predators, these are the animals that always hunt, like the buffalo and the lion. The predator there is the lion. And then also your anemones here, so they get to move around, which increases their food supply. So meaning by the time that the boxer crab moves, so the anemones will be happy because they can get more food supply because remember anemones cannot move. So they need someone to feed them or to move them around. So in this case, so your boxer crab here is also happy, and anemones here are also happy. Is it mutualism or proto cooperation? So remember that anemones can survive without boxer crab because remember anemones they can get their food from the anemone fish. Remember, right? In this situation, it's the anemone fish that will give food to these anemone, right? Or the sea anemone. So this relationship, it's an example of your proto cooperation. They don't need each other to survive. So the boxer crab, it can move around without the anemones also. Okay. Next. Okay, this tiny emperor shrimp. So this is the shrimp. Okay, is riding along on the back of a sea cucumber. So this one is the sea cucumber, okay, which is a long worm-like starfish relative, while it crawls along a sandy bottom. So the shrimp gets to travel around under the protection of its much larger partner, and the sea cucumber doesn't seem to mind it. So meaning the sea cucumber, like I don't care. So in this situation, so the sea cucumber doesn't seem to mind, so that's 0. And then the shrimp gets to travel around under the protection of its much larger partner. So the shrimp gets a free ride and the shrimp is happy. So positive, 0. So this one is an example of commensalism. Okay, next, let's try to look at the next example. So we have here the situation, this worm. So this one, this is the worm. So this worm is inside the eyes of a human being. So the worm infects human through the bloodstream and gets a nice warm, safe home there. Okay, the human may go blind or have other complications as a result. So this worm infects human through, okay, through the bloodstream. Okay, so the worm infects human through the bloodstream. So in this case, Okay, the worm is heavy, right? And then the human may go blind, which is a negative, which is a very bad effect, or have other complications. Complications meaning like a negative effect, negative or bad effect. So meaning this one is a negative sign. So is it parasitism or predation? Remember that the worm does not kill the human because the worm is drinking the blood from the human. Okay, so this is an example of your parasitism. Okay, next, spider and butterfly. So without the scenario, so can you guess what is it? Okay, so this is an example of your predation. Why? Because this the spider is your predator, and then your butterfly, this is your prey. So the spider will gonna eat this butterfly. Okay, next we have your garden plants and weeds. So weeds, this is not smoked weed every day now. So weeds are unwanted plants, meaning you don't need these plants. They just grow anywhere. You just like one day, oh, are you there? I don't need you, right? So garden plants and weeds. So garden plants need nutrients. Weeds also need nutrients. So both of them, they need nutrients from the soil. So they are competing who will gonna survive. That's why, right? If you know about gardening and in your garden you saw there like weeds normally they are removed because the weeds are competing for the nutrients. So this is an example of your competition. Okay. Okay. I know you don't like this part, but this is part of learning. Homework. So homework in your Mastering Science 3A. So please answer page 22 of your book. Okay. So another special homework. So I call it like symbiosis origami chatterbox. So in your symbiosis origami chatterbox, so these are like foldable, so meaning you can just open it and close. So when you open it, so at the back, you can read some information or picture about commensalism. So when you close it, so it looks like this. So there were 6 ecological relationships, so you can just choose 4. So if you don't like predation and you want it competition, it's okay. So please take note that in this project, you're going to use an A4 size colored paper, write the meaning. So what is commensalism? What is parasitism? What is predation? And add some pictures or describe the pictures as your example, and of course, be creative. Okay, so that ends my presentation. So if you have any questions, so don't hesitate to send your questions to sherwin.long@gmail.com. Okay, so see you in the next video again. So I hope you learned a lot from me and see you next time. Bye-bye.